Hey everyone, welcome back. Another little video here to help you with your maths today. Today we're looking at dividing a decimal fraction by 10, 100 or 1,000. And this is following on from yesterday's work where we looked at multiplying a decimal fraction by those numbers. So we looked at yesterday when you multiply a decimal fraction by 10, 100 or 1,000, the number gets bigger. So 8, for example, times 10, or 8 tens would be 80, a lot bigger. 84 by 10, 840, a lot bigger. When we're dividing by this 10, 100 or 1,000, we're dividing by these whole numbers, our decimal fraction is going to get smaller. So when it got bigger, the decimal point moved to the right. When it gets smaller, this decimal point is going to move to the left, because what we're doing is we're saying it's going to be 10 times less or 100 times less. And when that decimal point there moves to the left, it's going to get smaller. So let's look at an example. Let's say something like 82.5 should use the right language. Divided that by, I need to move this off my screen, make it a bit easier. Helps if I should prepare this beforehand, shouldn't I? Let's do this. Okay, so 82.5 divided by 10. So what we're basically saying is this number, and if we do a bit of estimation at the start, it's about 80, and we know 80 divided by 10 is 8, because 8 tens are 80. All right, so our answer is going to be around about 8. So what we're actually saying is, if we get my little marker here, all right, this decimal point here needs to move 1 to the left. Okay, so remember, if we've got 1 power of 10 here, our decimal point moves 1 power. And because we're dividing, it goes that way. So that would make it 8. If we put the 8, the 2, and the 5 down, the decimal point was here. It now goes 1 to the left and becomes 8 and 25 hundredths. Alright, so 82.5 divided by 10. It's getting 10 times smaller, which means it moves across to the left one, 8.25. Let's delete that one. Let's have a look at the next one. Let's just do the same one, 137.43 hundredths. And let's divide that by 10 also. Okay, so 1, 3, 7, 4, 3. That's the number we've got. We're divided by 10. We're making it a bit smaller. 1, 0, which means it moves across one place there. So our number becomes 13 and 743 thousandths. You can see the decimal point moving across there. If I was to change that and made that 100, what we're saying is it's getting 100 times smaller. So that's worth 2 different place values. So if it's 10 times smaller, it goes 1. If it's 100 times smaller, it goes another 1. So if I write this down, 137 and 43 hundredths. I'm going to change the color this time. Our decimal place, if it's divided by 10, it goes there. If it's divided by 100, it goes there. So our answer is 1. And we can just simply write 1.37 there, or 1 37 hundredths. Okay, so if you think about it, if we rounded that, so it's 130, or 100 divided by 100, well 100 divided by 100 is 1. So we know our answer is going to be 1 and something else. Alright, let's do one more. And if I scroll down, that's this one here. Now let's divide that one by 10 to start with. See what it looks like. And then you know what? Let's make this 100. So we can see the difference between the three of them. Alright, so 52, 6, 9, 5. If we're dividing by 10, we're moving at one place value and we're moving it to the left. So if you think about it, 50 divided by 10 is 5. So that makes sense if it goes in there, because the answer will be around about 5. That's if we use the whole number. Okay, we can do a bit of rounding too if we want to, but that's just to show you. If we're now going to do that by divided by 100, the same number, well, 50, if it's rounded divided by 100, it means it's going to be less than a whole now, okay, because 50 over 100 is going to be less than 1. So if we write again, 52, terrible writing this, you'd think I'd get a bit better at it with all the practice I'm doing. Okay, again, this time it's 2 places we're moving it to. So 1, 2, it goes at the start there. And because there's nothing at the start of that decimal point there, we put a 0 in. So that becomes 0.5. I'm going to put 53. I'm going to round this off so I don't have to write all of them. And look at the last one. Now we're dividing by 1,000. So 50 divided by 1,000, we're looking at a pretty small decimal fraction. Okay, so again, I will write this out. 52 and 695 thousandths. We get the blue. This time we're doing it 1, 2, 3 place values. So go 1, 2, 3, and the decimal point would go there. Now we've got a gap there now. And if we've got a gap in a decimal fraction, we'll put a 0 in. We also know that if there's nothing before the decimal point, we also put a 0 in. Okay, so the answer for this last one will be 0 wholes, 0 tenths, and 53 thousandths there. Okay, really important if we do these jumps, and as you're learning, put the jumps in, that if you see a jump with nothing underneath it, put a 0 in there. Hopefully that helps you with today's session. Good luck with the activity afterwards.